Hello, back again to discuss the second lesson involving the organization of deck system. What I want to cover in this lesson is a little bit more about programming, and then we're going to take a look at the most important macro in the system, which is the Altv macro. In order to cover just a couple of other programming concepts, let's go back to where we were when we left off last time, which is that test form we were and code we were dealing with. So if we press Alt F11 or go to the Developer tab and press Visual Basic, we'll get to the code. And actually I've changed it a little bit, and I've changed the form a little bit, but we'll start over. Going to the toolbox, you can change, let's change what we had on the form. So if you just highlight each of these, you don't even have to go to the toolbox, you just highlight each of these and click delete. You can get rid of what's there. It won't be the same thing that you're seeing, but I just want to leave the OK button. And let's go to the toolbox, and I'm going to add what I just had shown you. So with the toolbox displayed, I'll grab a label again, and this time with the label, instead of going down to captions here, I can just click on it inside the label. It's faster. And is the claimant. I'm going to type that in, and I'm going to change the font to be bigger and resize it so it fits what I've just got there. And now I'm going to use something else. I could use a checkbox, or I could use an option button. But since it's one or the other, you use an option button, which is the most. I'm going to put that option button there. And again, I can just click inside there to change it from option button 1 to mail. Now I can go to the toolbox and create another option button, or watch this, I can simply highlight this, right click the mouse and choose copy, right click the mouse again and choose paste, and I get a repeat. And if I move that where I want it and change this to female, now I've got the two options that I want to put up there. Notice the form is user form 1. This particular option is called option button 1. This particular option is called option button 2. So if I go to code, which I have erased all the code that I had, I can say A, remember how to set the variable, A equals user form 1 option, misspelled it, option button 1 value. And we'll make B equals user form 1 option button 2 value. Now I can say if, I got to use the if command, and that demonstrates these conditional commands. If A equals what? Well, if the option button 1 is checked, then it has a value of -1. If it isn't checked, it has a value of 0. That's just the way it is. So if a equals -1, then I'm going to create a new variable, and look, I'll give it a logical name. Then sex equals his. And if b equals -1, then 6 equals her. Now I can make the macro run. To begin with, I have to show the user form, so I have to go user form 1 show at the top of the code. And now to make this useful, I'm going to show how to add strings. Selection, type text, the claimant filed plus, notice I leave a space between filed and the quotation mark within the string, sex plus, and again a space, request for hearing timely. Oops, forgot the quotation at the end. Or the parentheses is what I meant. So now if we run the macro, by pressing Alt-Shift-A, we get this, and if I select female, we get the claimant filed her request for hearing timely. Now, looking at the syntax of this conditional statement, if and then, as long as you have all your code on one line for the condition, that's fine. But many times you're going to use, once the condition is met, let's say a equals -1, you may want to make a number of statements, in which case what you need to do is leave then at the end of the command and make a new line. But if you do that, you have to write end if at the end of the condition code. So this particular statement does exactly what this particular statement does. It's just formatted differently, and it requires the end if. There's one other command that you can use as part of conditional statements, which is after the if, after the then, you can use separately else, which word understands to do the alternative if the condition is not met. So I could do this. If a equals -1, then sex equals his, but otherwise sex is her. In which case you don't even need this statement, do you? So let's take it out. Let's run the code again. Select female, like we did, and we get the same result. Different code, same result. Okay, let's erase all this because I want to show you one other concept. Remember that the for and next loop concept for x equals 1 to 15, next x. So any code I put between that is going to constitute a loop that's going to run 15 times. Selection type text. This is a test. Now, if I just run this code as I've done it, as I demonstrated last lesson, it's going to run this. It's going to do this is a test 15 times, and to make it look good, I can put a paragraph or a line feed in there. But I'm going to do an additional bit of code. If x equals 8, then go to a label, and I'll call this label out of it. That requires that I have a label down here called out of it. You can make your label, call it anything you want. The way Word knows it's a label is that it has a colon after it. What's going to happen now is it's going to print this is a test 8 times as the loop runs. But if x is 8, then it's going to jump out of the loop and go to the label. And I don't have any code under the label, I just end the macro. So again, we'll go back to the document, press Alt-Shift-A, and it does this is a test 8 times. One other, I'm going to erase this code again. One other thing I want to show you is the concept of document variables or object variables. You don't have to, a variable can be more than just text, it can, or numbers. It can be a Word object or any document, and that's a technique that I use all the time for doing the form decisions, the computations, and various other tasks within the system. What I will do is create a new document, and sometimes even 2 new documents, and then I'll manipulate those documents by going to and from other ones, and those are the techniques I use. So to show you how to do that, you need a special declaration of the variable. You need what they call the dim statement. Dim, let's say doc1, I could call it anything I want, as object. That's going to mean that when I refer to doc1, it's going to be some kind of object as opposed to a piece of text or a number or something like that. And I'm going to dim doc2 as object. Now I'm going to, the current document you're working on, Word has a code for that. It's called active document. So if I want to make doc1 the document I'm working on, I can go set doc1 equals active document. Now I'm going to have this code add a document. So I just do this, documents, add. That's going to create a new document. So once it's created a new document, I can make set doc2 equals active document. Because now, after I've added a document, it's opened the new document, and that's where Word is on that new document. But I can return to doc1 by simply saying doc1 activate. So now I'll go back to this test document I'm working on, and once I hit Alt-Shift-A, it should create a new document and then return me to this one. Let's see. It did. See, there's a new document down there that Word gave a default name of doc3 to. Okay, with those concepts in mind, let's look at the most important macro in the system.